Hello everyone, this is Ellie of Herbcraft by Ellie Apothecary. Welcome to July's forecast 2025 for our Astro highlights, Luna notes, and more. So this is a monthly astrological and lunar forecast and verbal ephemeris with a psychic read on an oracle for the energy of the month. I am a psychic medium empath. I do weekly tarot and oracle videos in ASMR style most of the time. These are also timeless readings when I do the oracle, collective tarot quests as I like to call them, for they are a journey and they are long form content when it comes to the tarot quests, which I do weekly. I am a channel for source and I enjoy reading into energies that I pick up on in certain oracle decks. The oracle reading can be applied to any time of the year, for it is also a timeless message. So if you're catching this later, it was meant for you. I'll be sharing the shorter form version of this oracle read in a separate video in the days to come. So if you just came here for that and not the monthly astrology forecast, please see the links and I'll post later for just the oracle portion of this video. I also always drop the shorter form links in the comments of each video post in our community page. Speaking on that, for those of you that are waiting for the shorter form versions of our tarot quest that came out on Monday, those will be going up over the weekend. So stay tuned in the community post about that reading, where I'll drop that information when it's available in the comments. Thank you for your patience. If you're curious about the music today, I decided to put on one of my favorite meditation and sound healing channels, Inner Lotus Music, on YouTube. This video is their newly released 432 Hertz Unlock Inner Peace video. So I'll save it to my sound healing and background music for readings playlists on my channel here. Enjoy those if you do check them out. They're really great for meditation. Those of you that like my other music tastes, my Spotify profile is linked in the description box still. One last fun note, and then we'll dive into the video's topic. Early this morning, I dropped a video with some channeled prose, a poem for Cancer season called Between the Chaos and the Calm. It's a channeled message and a beautiful spoken word piece I brought through for the collective. Anyone drinking any tea? I'm a huge tea lover these days. I have an apothecary and I like to make different brews for when I record. Anyways, as far as the spoken word, some of you know I've been doing Astro themed poetry and channeled prose for about a year now on YouTube, on top of some other fun content I have. I'll link it at the end of this video and put it in the description box for your pleasure. And that it's only about 15 minutes long, so it's not like my typical quests or channeled messages. Alright, so now for the Astro highlights and Luna notes. So if you don't know, I am a professional natal, electional, and evolutionary astrologer. I just want to say thank you for everyone's likes, comments, donations, and subscribes. Everyone in the community, I appreciate all of you. Even the casual passerbyers. Yes, you. Alright, so let's get into the astrology now, okay? Astro highlights and Luna notes. Before we get into July, let's refresh on some pinnacle highlights from June, okay? So, Jupiter entered Cancer on the 9th to stay until June 30th, 2026, next year. The 17th, Mars transited into Virgo to stay through August 5th. The 20th, the Sun entered Cancer to stay through the 21st of July for this year. The 25th, the new moon in Cancer happened. Mercury entered Leo on the 26th to stay until September 2nd. It has an extended stay here because of the approaching Mercury retrograde, which is coming up. So if you'd like to note these dates for later, please grab something to write on because we're about to get going. Give you one moment. All right, so for July, today is the 2nd. I usually get these videos out either a couple days before the start of the next month or within a couple days of the beginning. It's whenever I am intuitively led to make the content is when I make it. It's part of just going with the flow as a psychic medium empath. Anyways, I know everyone gets flooded with so much monthly content at the beginning of the month, so you know, this is probably working out in my favor having it published a couple days into the month. Again, you might be catching this at the end of the month, so you know, just disregard all that. Doesn't really matter. Doesn't matter when you watch it. Feel free to save it for later if you'd like. Okay, so for July, here we go. So on the 1st, yesterday, the moon entered Libra. The 2nd, which is today, the first quarter waxing half moon began. Now, for those of you that have been following these videos, I think I've started doing the monthly highlights on YouTube. I'd say April was the first month, but I have been doing this on a smaller scale through my IG, which feel free to follow me. My link is in the description box along with other fun playlists and whatnot. But yeah, I've been doing this for a long time, and it's authentic to me. The Astro highlights are obviously, it's the verbal ephemeris, right? It's every single very important date on transits, events, new and full moons, and also the Luna notes is what sign the moon is in every couple of days, okay? And that affects the collective on a grand scale as far as how we emotionally process. And in Cancer season, this is all about emotional processing and nurturing, family values, foundations, home, the inner world, the inner self, femininity, no matter what gender you identify, we all have different aspects in us. It's about energy, right? Receptivity versus activity. Anyways, I thought that was important to note. So, yeah, if you're ever trying to like pick up on the vibe of the collective, just look at what sign the moon is in, which is what the Luna notes are for. Okie dokie. So, moon in Libra as we are recording this video. That's something I always leave in the description box of every one of my videos, by the way. It's kind of unique to me. Because, you know, as you know, whatever the energy of the moon is in also affects the energy of a reading. And you can look at other transits and other planets. I tend to go with the moon a lot because I'm a Cancer rising, which is led by the moon. So, yeah, I'm totally in my element right now. I'd love to read your chart. Just let me know if you're interested. I've got a few options. Alrighty, so let's get into this. So, July 4th. Happy Independence Day to my fellow Americans, which is Friday, I believe. Speaking of, did y'all know that I offer a veterans discount on my services? It's my way of showing my appreciation for those that have fought for our liberty. Anyways, the moon goes into Scorpio this day, and Venus enters Gemini to stay through the 29th of July. So for the whole month, essentially, Venus will be in Gemini. Also, Neptune in Aries goes retrograde until December 10th of this year, 2025. Okay? Some of you know that Neptune just went into Aries in the last couple months, and this was a huge shift. It hasn't shifted in many, 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 many years. So, again, outer planets tend to affect on a collective, global level, whereas inner planets tend to be more about the self and the inner world and direct environment, community, relationships, etc. So, when we look at these slower moving planets, we're looking at kind of the ways that society is engaging. And these things absolutely can be proven, especially if you're going through evolutionary astrology. I definitely look into that if you want to go deeper with your astrology studies. I've mentioned a community before that I support that sometimes I engage with. I haven't been able to as much in the last year because of the growth of my business. But yeah, check out RosalilaHealing.com, led by Timothy Holleron. He does Astro Lives once a month for the community. There's even an arts showcase. In fact, I was thinking of sharing my poetry over there. Sometimes I do that. So yeah, check them out if you want more evolutionary astrology. The whole thing is an entire school, and yes, he does have a YouTube channel, so definitely check out his work. All right, Rosalila Healing. Alrighty, so on the 6th, the moon enters Sagittarius. Apologies if you could hear my stomach growling. I'm doing a intermittent fast today, and no, I'm not giving medical advice. It's just sharing something about myself. I've been doing intermittent fasting off and on for over a decade. It's just part of my lifestyle. So yeah, if you hear my tummy rumbling, I apologize. Anyways, so the 6th, the moon enters Sagittarius. 7/7. This is a big day. All right, here we go. Firstly, Uranus, the planet of unexpected change, uniqueness, and humanitarian concerns, to just list a few traits, transits into Gemini to stay, are you ready? Through 2033. So for the next 8 years. Again, outer planets tend to transit slower, so they stay in a sign longer. Their retrogrades are also longer. So it will momentarily, Uranus, will momentarily dip back into Taurus one last time in November through April of next year, 2026, due to retrogrades pushing it back a sign. I'll discuss this energy in more detail another time. Also on this day is the pre-shadow 10-day phase for Mercury retrograde beginning. I've explained to people before what the shadow phase is. It's essentially that liminal time before or directly after a retrograde that the energy can almost be more chaotic. Now remember, we can work with any planet. And if you work with energies in your practice, your spiritual practice, you'll learn how to coincide and use it to your benefit instead of fight it and be like, oh no, Mercury's retrograde, the world is ending, because it's not. I work with Mercury often. It can help enhance communication. And again, reviewing is all about the retrograde. Anything with a re is a retrograde theme, okay? Repurpose, reuse, reanalyze, review, recycle, rejuvenate. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so Mercury ruling communication, local community, local travel, and many, many other things are just some of the things we can look at getting better at reviewing, right? Right. And if you are looking for more luck with Mercury, I would suggest if you do this, if you don't do it, offer some lemongrass or lavender for some energetic support during the retrograde period. Okay. So I tend to do like a 7 to 10 day shadow period gauge with each retrograde, and that is starting on the 7th. So if you're making any plans for travel, which Mercury does rule, mostly short distance, just be prepared. I notice people tend to get a lot of flat tires and have car issues. Most people know it's not a time to invest in electronics, sign any contracts, or make any serious decisions. It's not an ideal time to move. Again, if you have to do what you got to do, you do. Just plan ahead and note that it's a retrograde and give yourself grace and patience to be able to get through it, and just have backup plans. Okay? You don't have to be crazy hyper vigilant about it. Just be prepared, make sure you got that spare in your car. Make sure you give yourself 20 extra minutes to travel around town. Make sure your phone is charged. Don't be around the pool with your phone at this time unless it's waterproof, you know what I'm saying? Alright, cool. I think we all get it. So this is a little more woo-woo, this next part, which, as some of you know, I specialize in that. For manifestors, an energetic portal is available on 7/7. So a DL I got about angel number 77. It can represent a mirroring between the shadow and the outward spirit. A partnership of hidden and seen that brings us closer to divine unity and partnership with Source consciousness. Especially with the North Node being in Pisces right now, there is a huge emphasis on subconscious, psychic, spiritual themes, okay? It's our collective energy, where we're going as a society. It's our destiny. It's what we're learning evolutionarily for the next couple years, okay? This started in February of this year, the North Node in Pisces. But back to the DL I was talking about. Focus on integration of these aspects, and it will bring you luck and carve a path forward. So the number breaks down to a 5, which represents change, transformation, and being halfway to a goal. So synchronistically, you may want to listen to my 77 Angel Collective Reading Tarot Quest for more clues on how to do this. I'm just picking up that might be relevant for somebody. There could be something synchronistic, and all my readings are timeless. That'll be in my Divine With Me playlist, also in the description box. However, I'll probably pin that video in the comments for the curious ones. I believe we recorded it in May or April 2025. That might be significant for somebody. Alright, so moving on from the 7th. The 9th, the moon enters Capricorn. The 10th, the second quarter waning full moon phase begins. The full moon is in Capricorn in the mid-afternoon in the States, average to about 3 p.m. across the area. Adjust it to your local time zone. And if you live outside the States and would like me to consider your time zone or country or region, province, do leave me a comment and I'll consider it. I've said this in other videos. I used to give extensive coverage as far as time zones to accommodate everyone, but honestly, my business is multifaceted, my spiritual gifts are multifaceted, so I'm not all just astrology here. So I've had to re-divert my energies in ways that are more productive and sustainable. However, I want everyone to feel included. So if you're like, say, on the other side of the world and you really dig my vibe, like, be like, hey, I'm in this country. What time is the full moon happening? And I'll drop you a comment and reply. I do engage with my community. And while we're not quite a super huge community yet, now's the time to try to get more involved if you want to start some conversations with me. All right, I appreciate it, and I do care about everyone's needs here. I can't always accommodate it, but I do care. Okay, so the 11th, the moon enters Aquarius. So in case you didn't get that, to clarify, on the 10th, the full moon in Capricorn will be happening, averaged about 3 o'clock in the afternoon across the board in the States. On the 12th on the West Coast and the 13th on the East Coast, due to time zone differences, Saturn in Aries goes retrograde through November 26th. And again, Saturn also just recently transited into Aries in the last couple months, just like Neptune did. They were both in Pisces. So we're experiencing a lot more collective energy here. Okay. So the 26th November, that's Thanksgiving week in the States, I believe. We'll all be integrating karmic lessons and beginning new cycles, especially with family. So early heads up, y'all, like, prepare yourselves and good luck. This could be good, bad, or neutral, folks, depending on your karma or state of dharma or your state of mind, really. You know, just try to take things in stride and deep breaths when you're around family for the holidays, which we got to do anyways, right? So whatever we learn over this retrograde will serve us well in the new cycle, especially in the new year of 2026 coming. I see a lot of hard lessons reviewed, especially about identity and the opposition one has faced in the past when it comes to the sense of self and how that is acted upon in society. On an individual level, we're talking about here. Also on the 13th, the moon enters Pisces, so we're really going to be feeling deep things in this collective shift for a couple of days with these planets transiting into retrograde motion, Neptune and Saturn within a week of each other. So that's about the second week of July, right? All right. So the 15th or 16th, depending on the side of the country you're on, the moon enters Aries. 17th, the third quarter waning half moon phase begins, and Mercury officially goes retrograde in Leo through August 10th. For those of you that don't know a lot about the moon, the waning phase is when it's decreasing in size, and the waxing is when it's increasing. Okay? Excuse me for a sec. Hopefully my recorder stays put. Does anybody have plans for 4th of July? Feel free to drop them in the comments. I'd love to hear if you've got something special going on. Speaking of, I just want to break this up real quick. For those of you that don't know, I live in the Sierra Nevada mountain range, and it seems like every summer our community is getting hit with wildfires, and I'd say 9 times out of 10 this is caused by one of a few factors, right? Either people leave broken glass out in a field somewhere, it gets reflected, it starts fires, or people do not bury their fire pits well. Honestly, I wouldn't recommend doing bonfires and camping and all that unless you're at like a clean, clear, registered campsite, because oftentimes people don't cover their fires correctly. They put water on it, they're like, oh, it's fine, whatever, right? Out here we have to do sometimes scheduled burns to keep up on the wildland maintenance. and that's both the local community and individual property owners like myself. And I can tell you, when I've done a burn for like 4 hours, and I don't do it on windy days, that's another thing that can happen is the sparks fly, right? I've found that even if I cover it up and I've soaked it, like you really have to soak it, and then you cover it with dirt or whatever debris that's not full of weeds and all that you have set aside to make sure it is covered well, right? That fire will continue sometimes 3 days through the coals even after that. So it's very serious. If you do go out and participate in this way, please be careful. I'm seriously, like, I'm last year we had a serious scare, and I didn't have a way to get out if it had hit us. So please respect nature. Please respect the people that live in these tourist areas, because your actions affect us. Obviously, littering, throwing out butts, even incense, be careful with that. You know, don't leave it near dried stuff. This is all stuff that you learn. You can go to CAL FIRE to learn more. They usually have quick educational videos, but it's one of those causes that I really need to emphasize on. And one last thing, I know you probably want to get back to the content, but I am an advocate for multiple things, so this is important, okay? Most firefighters don't get paid out here, okay, which means there are limited resources, and that's across the state. And these people work hard. A lot of them are volunteers, and then multiple people in the community set up shelters, set up places for animals. Like if you do end up getting hit with an evacuation, which can affect us, we can end up losing power out here, not here, but in my county. We can end up losing resources, like stores get bought out. It's crazy. Like hotels, motels end up getting booked all the way out, like an hour and a half in every direction. And it's not a joke. Like there have been years where we had to evacuate for more than a few weeks, like mandated, okay? I'm fortunate I've never actually ever lost a home in a fire, but it has seriously affected me and my community. So please respect nature, respect fire, and respect the people that are working hard, including the volunteer people who work to keep up on these things. I'm not a part of it. Typically, I don't go to the site anymore, but I still have an account on Facebook. Facebook has an excellent community page about this. There's multiple. So yeah, I'll put it there. I'll leave it there because I know it's annoying to some people, but when you've had to deal with this for over a decade, you take it very seriously. Okay? My community thanks you. Thank you. Also, 4th of July, there's only one place in our county that has a community fireworks. They're completely banned out here, okay? So, well, I know people in the city pop them off because they got concrete jungle, right? Which is fine. You do you. Just don't bring them up here, okay? And that's any forestry, wildland community. Thank you. All right. I did say I'm a Cancer rising, right? That is the mother of the zodiac. All right, all right. Thank you, thank you. I appreciate you guys. If this matters to you, give this video a like, please. Thank you. Alrighty, where are we at? So, right, the moon enters Aries 15th, 16th. Mercury goes into Leo on the 17th to stay through August 10th. On the East Coast, Mercury retrogrades on technically the 18th. Also on this day, the moon goes into Taurus. So in case you didn't catch that, Mercury will be retrograde from the 17th all the way to the 10th. And again, I'll mention this in my August video next month, but keep in mind that there will be a 7 to 10 day shadow period after that. So if you're again making summer plans, I would consider either taking extra precaution or not traveling between the 7th, which is when the shadow period starts of July, all the way to August 17th. Now, a lot of you are going to go, heck no, techno, that's primary, like, beach time or whatever, which is cool. Again, you do you. Just take precautions. And if you don't care, then I'm very curious as to why you are listening to this video. But it's cool. I appreciate the support. So, alright, so Moon goes into Taurus on the 18th, and on the East Coast, that's when Mercury retrogrades. The primary period will be 17th to the 10th of August, okay? It's usually 3 weeks. So on the 20th, the Moon goes into Gemini, and I just noticed it is 444 on the clock, and then it just changed. So 444 is a synchronistic angelic number about angelic and protection from your guides, your ancestors, foundation, support. So that's all a good sign for everyone here, okay? You might want to look up the angel number. It might be significant to you. So the 22nd, the Moon enters Cancer, and the Sun enters Leo to stay through the 21st of August this year. Excuse me. The 24th, the Moon goes into Leo, and the 4th quarter waxing new moon phase begins. New moon is in Leo, and the average time for that event is around 1:45 p.m. in the States. Again, I average things to kind of Midwest time to be as close as possible to everyone across the board. And again, people above and below the states are going to have similar time zones, so just adjust it accordingly. So the 26th, the Moon enters Virgo. And in case some of you did not know this, a new moon happens when the Sun and Moon are conjunct. That means they're together. And a full moon happens when the Sun and Moon are in opposite signs. So that's why you see the Moon goes into Leo at the same time the Sun is in Leo, and that's a new moon. And then the full moon will be, the moon sign will be in the opposite sign that the Sun is in at that time. So it would be like an Aquarius full moon coming up after that, right? But we'll get to that later. So 26th, the Moon enters Virgo. The 28th or 29th, depending on the side of country you're at, the Moon goes into Libra. The 30th, this is another big day to note, all right? So here we go. Venus transits into Cancer to stay through August 24th. We'll all be learning, and this is where I was talking about Cancer and what we'll be learning and all that. More energies of that in this season and beyond, right? Okay, so we'll all be learning how to expand in all of our relationships via emotional intelligence. Especially since Jupiter, the planet of expansion, went into Cancer in June. There's strong maternal influences that are being brought to the forefront of the collective. To further add insult into injury for those in the collective who might have childhood wounds surrounding nurturance, not necessarily from a mother or maternal archetype, but just in general when it comes to nurturance. So especially those that could have had negatively affected development, this might be worth noting. Chiron, the asteroid / microplanet / space object, the definition varies upon the information source as to its exact classification. Anyways, it will go retrograde in Aries all the way through January 1st of next year, 2026. So it's a good time to review how our inner wounds have affected our actions in the outer world, hence projecting ourselves onto other people, right? It might help you to see what sign you have in Chiron in your chart and which house it is also in. And yes, you can indeed book an astrology reading with me to learn more about your personal birth chart. Again, see the description box for links. Pre-recording options are available as well if you don't want it live and over the phone, just like with the tarot, oracle, and psychic reads. Okay? So the last day of the month on the 31st, the moon enters Scorpio. That concludes the Astro highlights and Luna notes for July 2025. Thank you so much for everyone who's still hanging in there, because we are going to do a glimpse into August, okay? And then after that, we'll do the Oracle Psychic Read, and then after that, a couple of brief shop updates. Again, if you just want to watch the video for the Oracle and you don't want to listen to the rest of this stuff, check this community post's comments for the link to just the Oracle, or subscribe and put on all notification on the bell. That way it will alert you when I get it uploaded in the next couple days, okay? Cool. All right. Thank you. Have a great day if you're checking out now. Bye. All right, so for those of you that want to hear about August and everything else, let's go. So on the 1st, the pagan Sabbat from the Celtic Wheel of the Year is called Lammas or Lammas, depending on your accent. It is the first of 3 harvest celebrations. It's customary to harvest grain, corn, to drink mead, or local honey in your tea if you don't drink. By the way, if you're suffering from allergies, specifically buy honey that is made from bees in your local area, because it has access to the direct allergens that are affecting you. So definitely buy your honey local. It's one of those things that is just a great little herbal hack for you, okay? All right. So enjoy the rest after your labors with friends of the harvest. It's kind of like a pagan Labor Day. If you can tolerate the heat, farmers markets would be a good activity on this day. If you do like to do tastings and you do drink alcohol, visiting a brewery would be on theme. Or a classic barbecue with soul family or blood family of one of your homes. Crafting with dried herbs that were harvested over the summer solstice is also a fun way to honor this, especially with kids. Kids love making herb bundles and stuff like that. Flower crowns are more traditional for the summer solstice, excuse me, and Beltane. But you can take whatever you harvested and dried over those 2 consecutive before holidays and create more with it. It's really fun. And if you are a little woo-woo and a little witchy and you like a little herbal magic, you can put intentions into your crafting by using specific herbs that resonate with the frequency you want to manifest. Just a little fun for you there. Some pagans make something called corn dollies and burn them in honor of an energetic sacrifice, because most witches don't actually do sacrifices in the scary horror movie kind of way. That's a misconception. Now, I can't speak for all cultures. There's some cultures in foreign countries that still observe ancient practices, and I have nothing to say about those communities because I'm not a part of them. I'm not going to speak on them. So when I say sacrifice, it's more of like it's a releasing observance, right? You're putting energy into something that you are giving away in sacrifice, in tribute to whoever you are observing. Does that make sense? So it's a Celtic holiday, so typically people would celebrate sun gods or goddesses to thank us for the sun that helped grow the crops, right? It's very based on the Farmer's Almanac. If you look into the Farmer's Almanac, you will see the crossover between that and the Wheel of the Year with the Celtic wheel, okay? Which there are 8 Sabbats a year. So that's 8 Celtic holidays, festivals, gatherings, events, okay? So that's what that's about. Anyways, a corn dolly is taking dried husks from corn and turning it into essentially little dollies, right? You can use twine and keep it simple or whatever. There are a lot of really neat YouTube videos on how to do these things. I don't know if it's still up, but I do have one playlist from years back called like Pagan Holidays and Activities and Crafts. you can find every single thing you possibly could dream of researching on that playlist. If it's not still public, I'll make it public for y'all. All right. So let's go back here. It says, I am reading my notes as I do this. So yeah, some pagans make something called corn dollies and burn them in honor of an energetic sacrifice. So remember, acts of service are also considered a sacrifice to the divine, whoever your divine may be. And that includes community service for like Abrahamic faiths, right? I'm a non-denominational channel. Just because I happen to be pagan doesn't mean that I don't realize or talk about other people's faiths or practices, because I try to be very open here. And I hope that you will be just as open about my pagan beliefs as I am towards other people's beliefs, because that's one thing I believe in strongly here is about coexisting, okay? So perhaps volunteering somewhere in your local community would be a great way to pay tribute to your divinity or ancestors that way. One idea is to go to a local animal shelter and help them out with whatever they need. I've done this in my life before. And while everybody wants to go walk the dogs, right? That's the fun stuff. What they really need help with is the mucky muck behind the scenes. That's, and if you're able to do that, do. If you can't do that, maybe you can donate food or litter or other supplies to these shelters. I know puppy pads is a big thing. So if you can't donate time, maybe you can be of service in other ways. Again, if you live in a community like I do, maybe you can be a volunteer for the fire stations or whatever. And it could be something as simple as just answering the phone a couple hours for a day. You know what I mean? All right, just a couple ideas. You obviously don't have to do any of this. It's just, it's an idea to observe the holiday in a positive way, right? All right. So, this next bit, manifestors are going to love this bit. So, one of the most exciting days of the year for those of us that follow the laws of the universe via manifestation practices and ways of being is the epic 8/8 Lionsgate portal. A massive abundance opportunity is available with this portal opening in the energy. This is also a time of clearing heavy and hidden karma and reaping what you've sown, good, bad, or neutral. So the number breaks down to a 7. Perhaps some lessons you integrated from the 7/7 portal come into use here, or skills you've integrated from that last portal may be applied to boost your manifestations here. Also, perhaps you'll find more synchronicities and guidance via our collective read, which was called 888 Angel. I will also probably pin that in the comments with the other 77 angel reading for y'all's convenience, because I do believe it's synchronistic, which means it's significant and you're likely to find more answers or interesting synchronicities or confirmations or insight if you feel called to go to them, of course. And if you don't want to watch the long form versions of these readings, yet again, I always share the shorter form versions. Recently, in the last few readings, I have been linking also the shorter form in the comments of the longer form videos, not just in the community tab and cross-sharing across Instagram and Pinterest. So there's multiple places you can find it for convenience, just these little things that I go above and beyond to make sure you have what you need from me, okay? Cool. So the next full moon in August, like we were talking about earlier, the sun and moon being opposites with a full moon. So the sun is still in Leo in the beginning of August, and the moon will be in Aquarius. So it will be a full moon in Aquarius on the 9th in the very early AM in the US and surrounding locale. So for more details on the month of August, you'll have to come back when I publish that video, either last couple days of July or the first couple days of August. All right, so Let's all take a deep breath because that was a lot of information. And I hope y'all are having a beautiful day. We have been blessed with like no more than high 80s where I'm at. I mean, I'm really lucky. I live above a river, not right next to it, but like it kicks up this really nice mountain breeze and cools everything down. I'm sure the deer like it too, let me tell you. That's another thing you can do to be of service is if you do live in a more rural area, especially in the summertime, just put out a few bowls of water for the wildlife. If you're cool with wildlife being around, obviously be safe. Don't leave out food for wildlife. I personally, we have a family of foxes close by, so those stinkers, man, they really are crafty. I watched one scale my front deck and bounce off the railing to get a basket of bird seed, and it was the craziest thing. So yeah, even bird seed can attract certain wildlife, but we're just talking about like hydration here. It's just a simple act of service or kindness to nature, to the land, to animals, especially in these hot times. I mean, if you've got dogs or something, you know, you leave water out for them, right? So like, yeah, if you're considerate like that, do that. When I talk about the wildfires last year, even though I couldn't do anything, I couldn't go anywhere, and it was kind of a scary situation, you know, I still kept my cool because I've learned how to do that in my life. And I did. I went out and I left water for the animals because a lot of the animals that were within like 20 miles of me were getting pushed into my area, because that's another thing people don't consider is all that habitat gets disrupted. It's not just the people, right? So I hope everyone has a safe summer. I've really set the intention that my community will be safe, and I'm hoping for the best, and I hope the best for your community as well. So community, thank you for listening to all that. When you subscribe to the channel, do turn on the all notifications bell if you want, so you know when I've published new content. I do keep a pretty decent flow of blogs, video shares, photos, and community updates on our community page of this channel, Herbcraft by Ellie Apothecary. Please consider joining us. It's free at the moment, and I do thank you all and others for contributing one way or another. I also appreciate the silent and energetic supporters in the background and the curious passerbyers. Y'all have an impact. I also thank you for your donations. The link's in the description box for that as well. They're never expected, but always appreciated. Your generosity helps me pour more love into the channel and our spiritual community we are building here, so thank you. All right, so this is the part that a lot of you are looking forward to, which is the Oracle Psychic Read. And then I will have some brief shop updates afterwards. For those of you that don't care about the Oracle, I thank you so much for hanging in for the August notes and my fire safety ramblings. I have the Archetypes deck per usual. And I also have the Medicine Heart Oracle, and I'm being drawn to the Medicine Heart Oracle. Huh. Now, some of these cards I have already read on, but each psychic impression is always different. And I'll do one, but I might do a second. We'll see how the energy feels. And then I will also read the card after we've done the psychic read on it. So this is either a timeless message for when you found it. Thank you to those of you who are just checking out the shorter form version of July's Oracle card for the month, or timeless Oracle reading. If you're catching the shorter form, I will link this entire video with the Astro highlights and Luna notes for July at the end. Thank you very much for visiting, and feel free to give this video a like if you enjoy, or check out some more collective readings in my Divine With Me playlist. Alright, enough business. This is Ellie, by the way, in case I didn't mention that. So I have one card here that wanted to come out from the Medicine Heart Oracle. Let me just read into this real quick and then we'll see what comes up. Alright, I will use as descriptive audio as possible. This is a rectangular oracle card. It has the art of Alana Fairchild on it, which I love. Alana Fairchild, and yeah, this is the Pocket Panda edition, which is appropriate because this card I pulled has two panda bears on the side, each side of a woman. And again, it's not gender restrictive, okay? So it's a woman appearing person. One panda on her left side, we're going to use femme pronouns just for brevity here. It's the panda on her left side. It would be her right side if you were standing next to her, but looking at her. The left side, this panda is looking straight ahead with a slight smile on its face. And then there's bamboo between the cheek of the panda and the woman, and it's like bamboo leaves. And then on her other side is the other panda on the right, but it's kind of looking off to the side. It looks like it's thinking about other things, we'll say. And something very adorable about this card is both ears of the pandas that are by her head make it look like she's almost got Mickey Mouse ears or panda ears herself. I'm getting the sense of being in unity and spirit with this panda, this black and white, majestic creature. She's got her eyes closed. She is a darker tone woman. She's got her eyes closed, and on her forehead looks like this almost like sacred geometry markings. She has dark, straight, sleeked hair down. And on the sides of her cheeks, two on the left, two on the right, are some marsupials. Oh, what are these little guys called? They're the red pandas, yeah. These cute little guys. So she's got like a pack of red pandas, and they're nestled underneath the mama pandas. I'm getting very maternal vibes, and also this is Cancer season right now, so we have a lot of maternal energies in the environment. These pandas are like surrounding her, and they're kind of looking up and around. And it's like they're all kind of just there together as a pack. Very serene. Sensing very cool climate. In the very distant background, there's like almost a teal blue coloration. And around her neck, her hair kind of crosses back and forth over her throat. Pandas, to me, I know that, I guess they could be dangerous like any other creature in the wild, but my interpretation of them is that they are very intelligent, they're very loving, and they're very nurturing. And they're freaking adorable. And of course, bamboo is something they tend to eat, which is a very watery, succulent plant, which humans can eat as well. It's a very versatile material, kind of like hemp. It can be used for practically everything. Speaking of cooling down, actually bamboo fiber can actually help you cool down. So if you're a hot sleeper, bamboo sheets are amazing, let me tell you. So I'm really picking up here for the collective, stay calm, cool, collected. Be around those that make you feel nurtured and held and supported. Like these two pillars of the pandas right behind her yet next to her. It's like it's all enveloping her. And it's like it's almost like they are the portal to the mother, which could be the divine mother, it could be Mother Earth, it could be the internal mother, it could be the projected mother, it could be the mother in society, it could be the archetype, right? But she very much looks like a maiden or a very young mother. Finding new ways to be a pillar of strength in your community, finding new ways to show nurturance. Again, this can be done with acts of service in your community. Of course, you don't have to, but we were talking about that in the Astro video earlier. It's interesting, the red pandas, it's like none of them are really looking at each other, but they're all kind of aware of each other. So this could also represent to me like grounding psychic senses and sense of community for those of you that are working in the 5D. This could be about finding your soul tribe, even though you may not be physically close to them, that there is always a portal, a gateway, perhaps the 8-8 or 7-7 portal. 7 is a number of deep spirituality, about spirit. It's also rules the 7th house, which is about partnerships. And interestingly enough, it rules Libra, and the moon is in Libra today. So there is strong Libran energies, focus on partnerships of all kind. She does have these two pandas. Partnering for a cause that brings relief to others could be something significant. Perhaps some of you work on a larger scale with philanthropy. That'll be coming up strong with the full moon in Aquarius in August for sure. It's also about finding peace no matter where we are in our environment and who's around us. Knowing that we are self and contained within ourselves. Because again, nurturance isn't just about how others treat us, it's about how we treat ourselves. And our peace is just as important as being a part of the world, right? There's a way to be a part of it, but also be at one with yourself at the same time. And for those of you that struggle with emotional regulation, we talked about in the Astro part of this video, the full form, that we're talking about nurturance, we're talking about how all this Cancer energy with being in Cancer season and the new moon in Cancer having just happened, and also Jupiter going into Cancer for the next year, expanding on these emphasis on these traits, emphasizing these traits, right? So for some of you, it's about staying calm, cool, and collected no matter who's around you, and knowing that there are more people to support you than I think you know. It also makes me think that our spirit guides and our soul family and all our soul tribe and our ancestors are always around us, and all you got to do is slow down to tap in. Whether you consider yourself psychic or not, this is something that anybody can develop. I believe that everybody and a lot of other intuitives, psychics, mediums, empaths, etc. can agree on is that most people believe that everybody has this capacity within our consciousness, right? If you are a conscious being. And meditation is a great way to do that, going inward. For some of you, I just got the energy of a retreat. Perhaps some of you are thinking about going to a meditation or yoga or spiritual retreat for the summer, if you are in the summer months. Some of you on the other side of the world are in winter months. Or perhaps you're thinking of traveling to somewhere where it is summer if you are living, to get out of the winter dreariness, to nurture your soul. That's possible too. Beautiful. It's like one of these pandas looking forward and the other one's looking off to the horizon. So it's like you can be in two places at once and not be chaotic, because she looks very peaceful here. It's like you can focus on what's in front of you. You can feel into something and be a part of a bigger whole, but you can also keep your eye off into the distance and appreciate what hasn't even come yet by gratitude, right? The more peaceful you are, the more you're able to regulate your emotions, the more gratitude you have, which brings more abundance. And we were talking about the 8-8 Lionsgate portal in the Astro part of this long form read. So now I am going to turn it over and see what it has to say. Number 20. 20 could be a synchronistic number for you. You could be 20. The 20th of the month could be significant. Could be somebody's birthday. Also reduces to the number 2. So again, back to partnerships. That's the other number that rules partnerships, right? Like the 7th house. 0 is infinite possibility, oneness with spirit. Partnering with endless possibilities in spirit. It can also represent a huge level up or 2 levels up in your energy. So some of you could be experiencing ascensions at this time. If you are going through an awakening, you will love my style of tarot, because I really dive into the collective, especially those in the community who are going through spiritual awakenings or ascensions. And I am a spiritual guide, so I do get into that. You might like that. If not, disregard. So this card has a tricky name, but I believe in trying. So if I butcher it, I apologize, but I'm going to do my best. Nigalya Ponya. 2 words, Nigalya, and then PonyA. Okay, so Medicine Heart Oracle, it says, no matter how great the odds may seem, difficulties will be positively transformed. That which appears to be declining will yield new possibilities. A gentle approach will conserve your energy and attract all necessary resources. You have considerable resilience, and there is a restorative, replenishing wisdom at play in your life, reversing a negative trend and guiding you into a more abundant, restful, and supported reality. Wow, that was beautiful. I mean, it comes down to, again, nurturance and being able to provide that through keeping your balance, being at peace, and also over here this talk about reversing a negative trend and guiding you into a more abundant, restful, and supported reality. So remember, our thoughts create our reality, and it's not about shaming people for having negative beliefs. It's not about toxic positivity. It's about believing in the possibility of what you truly deserve. And you have to work on that sometimes. People have to work on that. And that's a way you can nurture yourself, right? I don't believe I'm going to pull another card, because I think we're around the 1 hour mark of this video. And I'd like to keep this one shorter than my tarot quests tend to go, okay? So I thank you, everyone who has enjoyed the oracle reading. If you don't want to check out the shop updates, please give this video a like, comment, subscribe. Otherwise, I will catch you on the next tarot quest. I will also link, yet again, the whole long form version of these Astro highlights for July at the end of this video for those of you that want quick access to it. Alright, thank you guys. Everyone, excuse me. So, shop updates, and then we're going to conclude this, alright? I published our current collective tarot quest on Monday. Today's Wednesday. Again, this is a timeless message, but of course the astrology is for July. Anytime in July you check it out. But as far as the tarot, it's the long form, full quest, ASMR style, like this video, right? Let me see. What is that one called? That one was One moment, please. I did not put it in my notes, and I've released a lot of content in the last week. Let's see, there was the midsummer messages, and then on the 29th, yes, on the 29th, okay, it's called Congrats, You Graduated to Empress, Divine Femme, and Divine Mask, or Masculine. You're being excuse me, moved by spirit to calmer waters. Excuse me. A little tickle in my throat. Some tea helps. Yeah, so that's a 2-part tarot quest if you want to check it out. Again, I'll be releasing the shorter form soon. Pardon me. My goodness. Look at that. I am human after all. Let's get back to these shop updates, shall we? Alright, so yeah, check that out if you would like. So I'll have the shorter form videos shared in the community page over the weekend. You can always find the shorter versions linked in the comments of each community post for whichever reading you're looking for. I think that was like 2 posts ago. Or you can peruse our collective readings playlist yet again called Divine With Me, which is always linked in the description box. It's my most popular playlist for readings. You'll also be able to find the Astro Insights playlist and the Channeled Messages separate playlist. Channeled Messages are sometimes a little different than the tarot quests, okay? Just FYI. Some of them have a lot of overlap, but some of them are very different. Alright, so I must announce that I have some changes coming to the readings for the collective. Sometime after the retrograde with Mercury, I'll be offering the extended versions of each quest on other platforms for purchase, which means I'll be shortening these quests to 45 minutes or less on YouTube for free, and offering a link to purchase the rest of the reading, which is usually I do an hour and a half to 2 hours for every quest. So you would be purchasing a 30 to 45 minute extended version of the quest. I've been offering this for free for many weeks now, and I'm not currently monetized, so I really do appreciate the tips, donations, along with bookings, but this is just me further extending my business practices. I've got other things in the works I'm just not ready to announce yet, but that'll be coming, okay? So again, you're never obligated to go to an extended, but I do appreciate all of you that do, and you do help build and support our sacred community here. So stay tuned next month in August for more information on those changes. But for July, it will remain as it has, and I thank you for your continued enjoyment and support here. So, let me ask, what has been your favorite tarot quest thus far? And if you haven't got to experience it, but you're about to check it out, let me know which one you checked out. I'd love to hear your feedback. I'm a very authentic person, I'm very laid back, and I really enjoy going deep with y'all. So, looking forward to the feedback. Alright. Also, what is your favorite part of this video? Was it the astrological highlights via the verbal ephemeris, the psychic oracle read, or the Luna notes that give you phases and moon signs to track? I would love to hear your feedback, community. If you are interested in tuning into a channeled message about universal love with source, self, and the other, I did a reading over the summer solstice. I'll link it in the description box as well. I believe it's the 33 angel message, and I believe the solstice message is also linked at the end of the channeled prose from last night that I mentioned earlier in this video. So those are the last 2 channeled messages I did, not counting the tarot quest, okay? So yeah, enjoy that. It was a really beautiful channel, and I tried something different for it. And I don't know who I was tapping into, what energy, but it was one of the most loving energies I've ever experienced. There's some really beautiful pieces there. In fact, I'll probably making in the future some shorter form content of some of my channeled messages, because it's part of the spiritual guidance that I'm sharing with the collective that I think is important. Kind of building up my body of work to help more people, because I know not everybody loves long form content, okay? Which is why I offer the shorter form videos as well. Alright, so for patrons and clients, here's some information. For booking either an astrology, tarot, or oracle psychic read, including hybrid sessions with all of the above, please visit my booking site to schedule. You'll find my live over-the-phone reading prices from the Services tab. If you'd like to book a private audio recording instead, you'll need to email me for that separate price list and request. Pre-recorded is typically less expensive than the limited live slots I offer on Tuesdays and Fridays. My standard reading appointments per week go as follows in Pacific Standard Time: Tuesday 2:30 to 3:30 p.m. or Fridays 2:30 to 3:30 p.m. Or for the special and only nighttime slot I offer, you can book on Friday evenings for the 7 to 8 p.m. time slot. It's first come, first serve, and you can only book the live through my booking site, okay? Link again is in the description box. Sometimes I can also accommodate a live phone time slot that is not listed as available. If you request it 5 days ahead of time via email, I might be able to work it out with you through future calendar dates available. You may also text my business number to request my scheduling assistance, or just email me. The phone number is found on the booking site. Links to that are also in the description box. My official business hours for summer, which are recently updated, are Tuesday and Friday, 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. PST, with that one live evening slot Friday nights from 7 to 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And again, if you're purchasing a private recording, that will be available to you within 5 days of purchase typically, okay? That isn't unless my work production becomes heavier. If that's the case, then I will update you accordingly on the wait time, okay? Alright everyone, that concludes this video. Again, please give it a like or drop a star in the comments or your thoughts to show your support. Please subscribe if you dig my vibe and want to be a part of our unique community. This is one where we support and guide each other to activate, ascend, and expand. Thank you everyone. Many blessings. This is Ellie, signing off.